All right, turning now to breaking news out of Chester, Pennsylvania. 2 Amtrak construction workers are dead, and dozens of other people have been injured after an Amtrak train carrying more than 300 people collided with a backhoe on the tracks. The lead engine of the train derailed. Joining us now on the phone is Christine Starkey. She was a passenger on that train. Christine, how are you feeling, and what do you remember about this?
Hi, I'm okay. I'm about to check into the hospital, actually, because after the adrenaline wore off, I'm feeling a little tight and a little woozy. But I was in the passenger train car, the very first passenger car, the one that actually was impacted. I'm not exactly sure how. I think we crumpled under the pressure. If you look at the pictures, I sent in some. You can see there's a hole, and it looks as if the train bent. And that was about 2 feet in front of me. It felt like an explosion. I ended up on the ground, and
meaning you were thrown from your seat? You were thrown from your seat?
Excuse me?
You were thrown from your seat? You were sitting at the time of this collision, and you ended up on the ground?
Yes, and I was half asleep, so I remember sort of waking up, and all of a sudden it looked like there was snow on the windows, but it was just debris. And like I said, the train car sort of crumpled in, so like the next thing, there was just metal everywhere, and glass was shattered. And one of the Amtrak workers yelled to get on the ground, and I remember reaching for my phone, and I called my mom just because the train hadn't yet stopped, and the engine car in front of us had gone off the tracks, and we were sort of leaning, so I thought we were in the middle of it all still, and I expected it to get worse, and then we finally stopped. And so I stammered a couple words to my mother and told her what happened, hung up, and sort of triaged the situation, saw what happened. In my train car, there were the 3 injuries that were pretty bad. There was a physician on the train car, though, that managed the woman who was injured the worst on our train car. And then I dealt with an older man who had a large laceration in his arm, was on blood thinners, and was very confused. So we wrapped his arm and held it tight until the EMS got there.
And was there screaming? You know, were people shouting, yelling, anything? I mean, I know this stunned everyone as you described the older man, you know, who seemed for a moment in shock, but audibly, what was going on?
Yeah, so what was really interesting and what I noticed immediately is the people on the train, just the other passengers, everyone handled the situation very well. I heard some screaming in the back of the train, and the other cars, some of the chairs sort of swerved, and the lurch was felt throughout the train. But what happened was the Amtrak workers screamed, "Everybody get off the train," because it looked and it smelled like it was on fire. And then almost immediately, as I was dealing with this man and trying to get the glass away from him and his face, the Amtrak worker redacted that and said, "Nobody get off the train," because they were worried about down power lines. And so we kind of just waited there for a while. Nobody was really sure, but I mean, we were just taking care of people who were bleeding pretty bad.
My goodness. Well, Christine.
And so, but like I said, I was really, really surprised by all of the passengers. Just everyone was so selfless, just taking care of the people that needed help. And the guy I was with was so chipper. I mean, he looked at himself and he was stuck under. He couldn't move because there was so much debris and sharp objects on him. But he just looked up at me and was like, "Wow, can you believe this? I only have a cut on my arm." And then handed me his phone and said, "Could you call my wife and daughter?"
Well, this was a very close call. We are so sad. 2 of the workers who were impacted by that train, and that backhoe did die. Some 35 people injured. And of course, we're wishing the best to all of those, and to you, Christine Starkey, for a speedy recovery as well. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. All right, back to politics after the break.